raining. Got off the airport in the airport at Charlotte. It was 93, so a little shocked that way. And I am on that time. I woke up at 4 o'clock thinking it was about 10, so that's about right for the day. But it's always a great thing to be with colleagues like that and think differently because it puts you out in a different place. So we got to wander around. We were in Donegal province. That's the old Gaelic. It's Donegal. Some of you have probably been there. It's a beautiful place. Lots of coastal cities, small towns, working people. One of my favorite things, we went to Killybegs. Isn't that a great name? And it's a big harbor town. They fish and they serve the men, mostly, some women, who work in the North Sea. We're talking rugged work. And you know, I love boats. I had a little bitty sailboat one time and sailed a little bit, and I'm around boats here. We're talking working boats. And I went down to the harbor by myself just to walk around. It's about 10 miles away, drove a car down, and walked among the ships, and they're the size of that chapel. And they're parked right up against the wharf. I mean, their bows were massive. And I walked around and looked at the equipment. I'm talking hawsers on there that were this big around, cabling that I just couldn't imagine working. And then my mind drifted to them working out at sea, and they provide the oil that basically the world uses. And they do it amazingly safely. You know, they don't have any spills out there. It's an incredible thing. But I thought about their lives. And you know what struck me? It was just another week until Father's Day. And that's when I started thinking about men. Men who do that kind of work and have for generations. So we're not going to exclude women. We've done them. We did Mother's Day big time. Go back and look it up. I think Tom preached it. He did a great job, or Chris. Today I want to honor those men who do those kind of jobs that often don't get our attention. You know, the men who build our roads and houses. The men who are out pouring concrete and asphalt when it's 100 degrees in the summertime as I drive across Arkansas. The men who clean and keep our toilets running, if you want to know the truth. Keep our electrical grid running. The men who just work. The men who climb on roofs, put a new roof on. The men who cut down trees. The men who do that kind of labor. Laborers. Work hard. Put their energy into it. Their lives into it. And sometimes I don't think we stop enough to really think about that. They are doing what everybody does, all parents do, mothers and fathers, providing for the families. Providing for the people they love, providing for the communities that they exist in, doing good things, easy things sometimes, hard things. And it gave me a deeper appreciation just for our differences, and really to honor men and to honor fathers, those men who go out every day to do that work. You know, it is an interesting thing that what they are doing is providing, but they are doing more, aren't they? They are serving. Don't forget that it is noble to serve. So moms, dads, everybody, that's part of what we do when we honor Father's Day. We think about service in the way of parenting. And parenting's a broad thing, and I'm not going to give you an hour. You don't need that. More people here experience, smarter, wiser than I. But I do think that we need to reclaim in this society that service is noble. By the way, I think Jesus said that. If you're to follow me, you are called to serve in the place that you're called to serve, not someone else's place. I do know that fathers often are a little bit too attached to their work. I've been one of those. And fathers, and the mothers all know this, are emotionally challenged, aren't we? We have this thing. We can't even name the emotional words. Ask a man. You've got about 4 words for emotions. It's okay. That's how we are. But I do know that they do know about serving. And serving has a purpose to it. You know, one of my favorite baseball players growing up was Hank Aaron. How many of you remember Hank Aaron? You're as old as I am. What a gentleman. Have you ever seen a man with that much grace, living with the racism he did? Came to the plate, played hard, played wonderfully, often under duress at first. Got no respect early on. Later got wildly respected. But some of you don't know, part of his story grew up really pretty hard scrabble. Every day when he went to school, his father gave him a quarter. And the quarter was for lunch. And by the way, among the kids he grew up with, having lunch money was a big deal. Really, a big deal. What he didn't know till he grew older, I bet you're about to guess. His father didn't eat lunch when he went to work so his son could eat lunch every day. That's why he could stand there and take racial attacks and be an adult. Why he could be dispirited by the glory that he did not receive and be a gentleman because of his father. His father showed him something that you almost can't teach. Do you see, service is love. To serve is to love. If you are a spiritual person, then that should be attached here. We heard it. You remember, God looks on the outward appearance. Some men are big, like Gil standing there, big, strong. Some are skinny and small, like me. It doesn't matter the size. What matters is here. It's about the heart. Fathers know that. They may not be able to say that sometimes, but they live it. So today I want you to think about your own father. So all fathers, your father, your stepfather, the men who were fathers to you, all of you, men and women, everybody, grandfathers, great-grandfathers. You see, one of the things we're struggling with about what are our roles, what are our boundaries. You come downtown, you'll get more of that. Some people know. I'll start getting after it. I do think it's important that we re-examine where we are as a society. It does not denigrate a person to elevate someone. We do not put anyone down when we elevate the things that people do. Somewhere we need as a society to find the balance. It is a spiritual rhythm. It is the spiritual rhythm of life. God honors all people. Maybe we can do the same. I pray for our nation that we do the same in the future and find a new way for it. Some of you know Heather Cox Richardson. She's a brilliant, brilliant historian. You may not like her side of the politics or her commentary. That's okay. But read her history. She teaches at Boston College. She's smarter than half the people on the planet. And she told a great story this morning. By the way, I read it at 4 o'clock because she puts out a publication each week. And I received it in my inbox, so I had to have something to do. So go home and read her article today that she sends weekly. And it was just about fathers. Thank you for all the men in my life. Thank you for all the fathers for me. But she told a great story that I'll leave with you. It was about her best friend, Mike. He was next door. And they were best friends as children. And his parents were like her parents. In fact, she called his parents Mama and Papa. So Papa's name was Ken. Ken was a World War II veteran. He grew up as a teenager. As a teenager, he joined the Army, not realizing he's about to be assigned to Patton's Tank Division, which fought its all the way through Germany and probably did as much as anybody, that unit, to win the war, to shift the totalitarianism that was happening. He survived it with great internal scars, but he came home, settled down. His wife said, "You got to go to college. There's money now for you to go to college." So he went, first one in his family to do it. But they lived almost up to Maine on the coast, and he got a job after college in Washington, D.C., and I want you to know something. He would commute multiple times a week, driving from Washington to get home to see his family, even if he slept 2 or 3 hours to go back to work. He was home every weekend. And so the kids in the neighborhood became his children. So Heather was saying this morning, he taught her how to shingle a roof, how to use a hammer, taught her simple skill sets, but also wonderful skill sets like it was a hot day one time, even up there on the coast where the water's cold. The water was warm in the bay. He said, "Come on, kids, I'm going to show you something." Took a small boat out to where the water was cool and cold and they could swim. Taught her good things, life skills. Well, Ken, the story is, when his firstborn, who was Mike, was born, he was away but got called, and Mike had a few problems. And, in those days, you stayed a long time in the hospital. She did, and so did Mike. So he gets called, drives to the hospital. He's on his way, and his wife had sent word, "You have to come." He had this deep baritone voice and said, "I just need to hear your voice. I'm anxious and nervous. Our baby is in trouble. I just need to have you to come." So he arrived. And actually, things weren't as bad as he thought. But when he saw his child, he could not speak. Literally. No words came out of his mouth. this deep baritone. He sang and whistled all the time. And finally she said, I have to have you. We have to sleep. Please start talking. And he said, okay, I'll talk. Why don't you and the baby go to sleep? So he started. 77 years ago, our Father brought forth. That's the only thing you can think of. He said the entire Gettysburg Address. His mother, the mom, the baby went to sleep. Can you hear your Father's voice? Maybe our presence now as we're hearing our Father's voice. Let it speak. It does its work. Bring that one back to you.